It's like beating your head on a wall. Say no way, marijuana's a fast way to fall. You will pay, 'cause it's doing you no good at all. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. Oh. Never try marijuana, don't try it at all. It's a lie, it's like beating your head on a wall. Say no way, marijuana's a fast way to fall. You will pay, 'cause it's doing you no good at all. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. A lot of people think that marijuana isn't dangerous, but they're wrong. Because not only does it harm a person's body and mind, but it often leads users to try other, even more dangerous drugs. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. Oh. Never try marijuana, don't try it at all. It's a lie, it's like beating your head on a wall. Say no way, marijuana's a fast way to fall. You will pay, 'cause it's doing you no good at all. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. Oh. Never try marijuana, don't try it at all. It's a lie, it's like beating your head on a wall. Say no way, marijuana's a fast way to fall. You will pay, 'cause it's doing you no good at all. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, 'cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. A lot of people think that marijuana isn't dangerous, but they're wrong. Because not only does it harm a person's body and mind, but it often leads users to try other, even more dangerous drugs. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, is a gift, don't abuse it. Oh. Never try marijuana, don't try it at all. It's a lie. It's like beating your head on a wall. Say no way, marijuana's a fast way to fall. You will pay, cause it's doing you no good at all. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. Oh. Never try marijuana, don't try it at all. It's a lie. It's like beating your head on a wall. Say no way, marijuana's a fast way to fall. You will pay, cause it's doing you no good at all. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it. Gotta grow, cause your life is a gift, don't abuse it. A lot of people think that marijuana isn't dangerous, but they're wrong. Because not only does it harm a person's body and mind, but it often leads users to try other, even more dangerous drugs. And you know, if you gamble with life, you can lose it.
All right, we're here. What is up? Welcome to Live Design Thursdays. You're here with Nick and Ian, deep within the bowels of the Johnny v. Amber YouTube saga. Ian,
Yeah.
I tried really hard to get those words in the title of our stream tonight.
Yeah, I got the tweet, so I think we're probably going to have a flood of people coming in here soon.
Oh, did you tweet
Because I said
it?
we were talking about... Yeah, I said we were going to talk
We're
about...
gonna be famous now. Sweet. I'm gonna like and retweet your tweet.
Yeah, so we've probably got like 2 minutes to figure out a way to tie all of that Johnny Depp stuff into a UX topic. I don't know about the trial itself, so
I've seen clips.
kind of feel like I can use that to my advantage and just...
I've seen clips. At first, I thought it was getting into that would be like a total social faux pas. But then people at work started talking about how they were following it, and then I kind of got into it. Bro, did you see that dry mouth doctor? His mouth was so dry.
I missed it.
I can't believe it.
I saw the Gatorade person.
There was a Gatorade person?
And yeah, there was someone drinking Gatorade, so that was kind of questionable.
I saw a guy vaping. What a circus. How much money does your trial need to be worth before they let you just do whatever the hell you want? And like yuck it up and have a good time. I guess it's 50 million. Millions. But yeah, hi, we're here. It's Live Design Thursdays. Ian and I are two, I guess, maybe seasoned UX designers. We get together every Thursday night. We try and tackle your topics and your questions and your UX this and that's. And tonight we're doing jobs.
Yeah, and you know what? And our own topics and questions sometimes too.
I have topics and questions.
I have topics and questions, and we've been having some good ones lately. So let's just dive right into it.
Okay, well, I
jobs.
mean, I put the prompt on the screen, so if you have a deck or like a slide reel, maybe like a loom ready, if you wanted to just hop right through it, go for it. Handed it to you.
Right. Well, step one.
What is step one?
LinkedIn is your friend. I don't know.
LinkedIn is not. What? Hold on. LinkedIn to a point is your friend, and then it becomes an abusive relationship at some point once you get too far in there.
Too much. Yeah, you want to remain arm's distance at LinkedIn.
What is step one?
So what is?
How do we want to? I want to
the
frame this discussion in a way that is productive. How can we do that?
What is the question? Are there questions? Is there a question that you've seen floating?
Well, first, maybe we should change this to a design job. Might be a little more topical. Although I'm sure there's lots of designers looking for different industries out there. So let's assume in this conversation that you're a designer, you're fairly new, and you have limited experience. So you've done a couple charity files, you've done some self-generated work, you got a little portfolio going, and you want to frame all that knowledge in a way that makes you attractive to, an agency. Maybe not an agency. Let's go with a software as a service company, a company that works on one product. And their product, maybe we can start typing some of this out.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction that I probably wouldn't have thought about a lot until more recently in my career. Are we thinking more of a junior person, or?
I think it's more of a junior person, because people, if you've been working in UX for 10 years and you're still struggling to put together a portfolio, like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that, because putting a portfolio together is hard. And not something that you have to do often. And a lot of times you're doing it in a silo. Like, you can't just go show everyone.
Yeah. And I think the difference is in like applying. I think there's different things in an agency versus, I guess, client side is what I always called it, in-house.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word that you used? SaaS company, like just
like software as a service.
There's differences there. Like agencies are always challenging, because I always find it's a little more fast paced, and you have to ramp up quick. Like, you'll get a new client and you got to like figure some stuff out and learn about them quick. I find there's always probably too much compromise. In my experience, there's always too much compromise to do a proper job.
Mm-hmm.
Let's maybe even people recommend work at agencies.
Well, maybe we can contextualize that. I work in an agency.
Yeah, fuck that.
So, but I think
watching?
Probably. Well, no, agency life is tough. They're two different things. Well, so is SaaS life. So if you're a designer and you want to work designing software, you can work for an agency or a vendor, which is usually a collection of people that takes on projects. So you're getting timeline-driven projects from different clients across the spectrum, and you're generating solutions for them and getting it out the door. Sort of akin to like an ad agency of the days of old, but the software industry.
Yeah.
Software as a service would be something like Spotify. Like, all they work on is one product. They're a fairly big company, and they want to build a product team. And that's a different direction to go, because you're working on one thing, forever. Till the stock tanks.
Yeah. You might have multiple like products within that company, like,
I just feel
mobile and this and that. But yeah, like I find that's the big difference, is like you go in these little kind of like sprints where you learn about a thing in an agency, you do the work, and then you say goodbye almost. Like, sometimes you do repeat business with a client or work on new projects, but I find a lot of the times you say goodbye but then that's when you know the most about them, and it's like, oh, we should like, you know, do more work together. But it can also be interesting because you get to work on a lot of different things. Things come and go. If something sucks, like it's going to be over in a short period of time. You might get to like travel, meet different types of people, work in different types of industries. Then on the flip side, in working in-house, like you get that, you get like the knowledge like stays with you over time, and you know, you get to know like your customers and your users, and
it's a different experience. But if you're looking for a job, yeah, those are the two. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like for you would work at. You know, I mean, there's a third degree to this. I was talking to someone about this the other day, where it may not be a software startup. It may be a large company that has a software division. So an example of that would be a home care company that sells medical equipment to people, but also has apps that augment that experience for them. So I make a heart machine, or this is the medical thing went down a grim path. I made a certain machine that people need to use, and it integrates with your phone. So we offer a software suite for that. That is a startup. You're focused. You're working on a single product, but software is not the primary business.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's a lot of
but anyway, that's we got the framework here. You are a junior designer. You have limited experience, some small jobs, some charity work, and self-generated examples. You want to work at a software startup that's fairly successful and has a focused product team. Cool. Apply to Facebook. They hire everyone. All right, thanks for joining us. Go on LinkedIn and type in Meta. They have so many jobs, it's ridiculous. What?
Yeah, just apply to all the big companies.
Yeah, apply to all of them, and you'll eventually get one of them. The end. But applying in design is a little different. Like it's, you know, you're not sending in a resume and a cover letter. You're sending a portfolio, and that can be tough.
Usually, yeah.
I mean, usually, yeah. I mean, at a certain point, I think as you get further on in your career, you're kind of able to, you've worked on so many things, or you've worked for such an amount of time that you could sit in front of a browser and point to all the things that you've worked at and worked on and show it. But a lot of times, like, especially for juniors, you need to get your foot in the door. And I think that happens through a portfolio.
Essentially, yeah. I've seen some like rumblings about like portfolios are bad, and I kind of I figured that was just kind of clickbait. I didn't really kind of go down that route, and I couldn't, but because it's like there's a lot of, you have to be able to talk about yourself in some way, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, portfolio can mean a lot of things, but I think it's a really interesting scenario here with someone who's junior, who you mentioned at the first, who might have like some charity work and stuff or something, but yeah, they may not have like, you know, years of experience or massive projects, or the role they played might not be like crazy big, but you know, they're trying to get their foot in the door, and that's really challenging. We've all been there, and you always hear the complaints of like people trying to get a job, but it says I need 3 years experience for this junior role, but it's like, well, how do I get that experience?
I kind of did I did the experience of, before I had my first junior position, I had to like go do work in other ways, like do freelance work, just get any kind of design work that I could, because it counted as design work, and then I could explain to people that I had experience.
Once you have some things to show, it's helpful. Like you have to be able to do something, and I'm finding now, like people, I just interviewed a bunch of people for research jobs, but they still had portfolios, and they a lot of people, they were juniors, but a lot of them had taken like some kind of course, like even like a Google has some courses on UX that I think are probably free. I'm not quite sure. It seemed free. I kind of looked around and it looked okay, and it just kind of has you doing some basic stuff. like walking you through like the steps of like user research and this and that. And even when people are doing it, like it makes a difference when they try, like, take a stab at that. Even when they're like, they did some interviews with their friends, or they put it out on Twitter to see if they could get people to do surveys. It's like, okay, like, you didn't get the really like all the data you would need for this, but it shows that they know how to walk through it.
Yeah.
And they can talk about it. That's better than nothing, right? And you know, the Google course like basically gives them the templates for these portfolios, I think, because they all look kind of similar, but that's something.
That's certainly something. Yeah. Okay. So how do you tell that story to a company that you've never met? Like, and I know that there's some forward-thinking ones. I mean, I know for at least a long time, Shopify, I believe they're under some sort of hiring freeze right now. But there was a point in time where they would pay for you to go to school. Like, oh, hey, you have an interest in coding? We'll pay for your post-secondary education with the understanding that you will code for us for 4 or 5 years or whatever the terms of the agreement were.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing, but also kind of weird. I mean, it's a big opportunity, but what if you hated that job? What if you had...
what's that commitment like?
I don't know. And it's actually probably a little more complicated than I'm describing, but I mean, there's avenues out there for sure. Okay, so, I mean, you do have to tell that story in some way. And I guess that was the point that I was trying to land on is... approaching a company with your experience, telling a story versus putting a bunch of JPEGs in a document with a title next to it. Yeah, I think there's room for that. There's certainly types of, design, graphic design, even art and illustrators where I think you're making a portfolio of here's how good these images look, but like I feel like UX demands a little more,
Yeah. Yeah, for UX design, I guess, I think, showing that you understand, like the problem, I think is always good. It's like, if you're trying to show something in a UX portfolio, it's like, here is the problem or the challenge that I was either given or found out, or the question that we wanted to answer, and then what you did to kind of discover the information that you needed to solve that problem or validate it or whatever.
Yeah, the
design work.
And to me, that fleshes out to look like something more like a magazine article, perhaps, than, a series of images. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm like wireframing like a type layout.
I had to make like a UX portfolio that didn't rely on like nice pictures. Like, I didn't design like the final high fidelity products in most cases.
I remember that. I remember talking to you
that was kind of challenging.
Like, how can I make wireframes look visual? Like, you needed a gimmick.
Yep. Yeah. And that did kind of help, actually. Just some nice layout styles.
Well, and I think it goes to show,
like, some other things that are... Sorry, go ahead.
I forget. Now you.
I was going to say, there's other things that are important, too, to getting a job. One of them, especially if you're a junior, there's going to be... A sane person knows that what a junior is, and doesn't expect 3 years experience, and I think they should expect to kind of train that person and be a part of that person's learning and growth. So there's that, I think. And people also want to work with people that are nice. So
okay. When I was in design school, I remember...
And it's a good fit for the team, so...
Yeah, he's, like, friendly, gets along with everyone. We can talk about... Maybe we'll talk about coffee chats and interviews at some point. Is there a way that we can get more granular? Like, what would...
Like, what would you
I'm trying.
put
Hold on. I'm
portfolio?
thinking hard how to frame this because I know you're going to be like, well, you know, we need more information. But like, what kind of
Like,
things would you include?
on a project? Like, say this is like a single project?
Yeah, you worked on a project.
Page?
You wireframed it. You designed
Yeah,
all the
I will put-
features. You sent it off to a graphic designer who did the UI.
Yeah, I would put I would put I would put the problem, I guess, or the project. I guess that's it depends, but we needed a way for our users to create a chart to present to their boss or something, you know what I mean?
Okay,
Just a
hold on. I'm
statement,
gonna get
either
that in there. Yeah, a mission
problem
statement.
or what something. Yeah, what the heck am I about to see? What am I? What is this? You know what I mean?
Yep.
A label, lack of better words, but yeah.
Well, and that's an interesting question too. Is like, what problem did you solve? Because that's what the people you're working for care about. Is you solving problems, like in a broader sense, but also in a design sense, right?
And I think
that's the thing they're worried about.
Take...
Like, they're not approaching you going like, "Hey, can you make the coolest, most forward-thinking ever feature ever?" They're hoping that you can solve a problem for them. So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Can you take a problem and solve it via design? Yeah, problem or goal.
Help me type
thing.
this. I need your copywriting skills.
Here is the problem we solved.
Period. You're like, there you go.
That's good.
Hey, do you use Grammarly?
I have not.
So I recently installed Grammarly as like mostly because I wanted a spell checker in every context. You know what I mean? That it's always
Does it
there.
work in Figma?
There's a Figma plugin, I believe. But the Figma is kind of weird because remember the text objects in here are actually vectors, not like raw text. That's why you can't search it. Anyway.
That's
yeah, it's super annoying. But anyway,
what else do we put
it does
in here?
two creepy things I wanted to mention to you, and I actually wanted to mention it to you today. One, it gives you an emoji
creepy
to tell you like what the tone of your message or email or what you're writing is.
Okay.
Like it's like if it's like a flat face, it's just kind of like you're being a bit serious. But if it's like super laughy, it's like you're too many exclamation marks, I think.
You're being too silly, Nick.
And then the other thing I got was some sort of toast that was like, we'll give you super advice if you get Grammarly Pro. And it made me feel kind of weird because it's like, okay, so in the future, like people will be smart because they can afford the Pro package. Is that what this is coming to?
Yeah, just like people like
they're like,
there was
we'll
some
tell
kind
you
of
what the
fucking, like...
AI thinks people want to hear if you just give us a bit of money.
Yeah, do you want your airbags to work this month? Pay $9.99 to subscribe to your seatbelts in your car.
I have heard about that. There is
shit like that.
subscription-based software.
Does.
During the design, we saw. Can you write this? What did you say before? You had a good one.
That was in the past. What problem we solved?
Okay, even more granular. Oh my god, what did I do? I got like phased out of reality there for a second.
What other things do I put on?
This company needed a solution for a specific problem, and here's how I solved it.
What else? Your role on the project.
Okay, get it in there.
It's been a while since
Get
I
it
made
in
my
there, cowboy.
portfolio.
Type it up.
I like to do that. Like, that's a little bit of a secret way to highlight the things you can do. Like, I'll put like user research, wireframing, whatever. You know what I mean? Just to get it in there. And also to let people know what I don't do and didn't do. I guess might as well say it for the sake of saying it. You might as well be honest with everything, because you'll just end up in a situation you don't want to be in.
Yeah, or somebody asks you a question you didn't expect, and you're just like,
unless it was like, I don't know, or whatever. Do what you do. I kind of like I stretched my capabilities a bit to get my first UX job, and I had a bad time, but that's how you learn. What else? Oh, another thing that I do is I forget what I've called it on my portfolio. I'll make a version, make a copy of it, put that over here. I'll put I have like a highlights, like bulleted list. I don't know if I called it I don't think I called it like achievements. That sounds a little bit too whatever. But so, just a list of just things I want. I don't expect people to read the whole portfolio, especially if it's like a big project. I've written pretty big portfolio entries before because there was a lot to talk about, and I wanted people to skim it and see that I worked, I was able to get through, understand all the details involved in getting something start to finish. I knew people weren't reading it though, so I tried to chunk it up so that maybe they would see titles and stuff. But I also put this little thing at the top that was a
Too
few
long
bullet
didn't
points
read?
of just
yeah,
fix
the company.
exactly. Yeah, it's just
okay.
make sure. I really want you to know that I implemented. That's where you brag, right?
Yeah.
That's where you kind of talk it up and you say implemented a research strategy, blah blah blah, something, just cool things that sound good that you did. Kind of what makes you proud of that project. Almost, that's a question I always ask in interviews, and I've been asked, is tell us about a project that you're proud of, or that's your a favorite project of yours, or that's a big accomplishment that you're proud of.
So what would you call those? Are those bullets under there, or?
Yeah. Well, let me check my portfolio. We could look at my portfolio.
I don't think we should look at your portfolio. Not that it's not a good portfolio, but it's just not.
What's the address is the question.
Oh, you have a public portfolio? I'm so NDA'd, man. I have to meet people in an alley if I want to show them my portfolio. I'm at 3 a.m. meet me behind this dumpster, and I will tell you what I worked on. Everybody does. NDAs are a weird thing, and it happens to every designer you work on, unless you're working for cool independent companies and you know the owner or something. But for the most part, the understanding is when you're working for larger organizations, the stuff that you're working on, you're under a non-disclosure agreement, and you're not allowed to publicly broadcast it. So if you were a UX designer for Facebook and you did all this amazing work, you can't just go make a website and put all that cool work on there, because you'll get a cease and desist letter. And I don't know, I hate that part of the design industry. Just let people talk about what they worked on. If it launched and the product is out there, then why is that not okay?
Yeah, especially when it's out there. Yeah, I hear you though. Mine's technically password protected, and I control who sees it, but it's technically just it is a website. I actually don't have a title for that section.
You should make a password protected portfolio, and when clients go to it, it's just nothing's here but a paragraph about my thoughts on life and reality.
That would be really funny. Just for jobs that I don't want, when people message you on LinkedIn, they're yeah, here's my resume. Problem. Our agency was developing a thing that guided people through a series of questions to give them the best product recommendations for their product. That's one of mine.
Yeah.
And then it's my role: user research, flows, wireframes, and usability testing.
So highlight or
highlights, yeah.
Deliverable.
I would say project highlights.
I mean, it doesn't need a title. I'm just kind of trying to put a name to these items.
because there's a good question that someone turned me on to for job interviews, where at the end it's like you ask them, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you'd like us to know? And I'm like, oh, that's really good, because I've been that person where it's like, oh, you didn't ask me about this thing, but I gotta figure out a way to tell you about it. That's kind of what I see this section as.
This is a perfect moment to sort of jump up Jack Black style and be like, I want to rock, and they're like, you're in. Gosh, you're in.
You're hired. What? Yeah, you got the job.
You got the job. We needed someone who's ready to rock and get down on the party. Okay, you're just going to list your deliverables. So you want people to know more specifically, here's what I did. Or what I gave them for their money. This company needed a solution for a specific problem, and here's how I solved it. And then we should qualify that statement by getting more specific about the solution. Sort of. I mean, you want to give broad strokes. And then I think below that... Now, listen, everyone, there's competing thoughts on how portfolios should go together. This is just two designers talking about how we would put a portfolio article together. This is not the be-all to end-all. So if there's a better way, drop it in the comments. Show us your portfolio. We'll feature it on the show. But yeah, that being said, what would go below that? What should people do exactly?
I want to hear the story of how you solved the problem. I want to know where you started.
I didn't get enough information, and I worked really hard. And
not enough info, not enough time, and not enough money.
You want to put
this fast, cheap, and good. Go.
What about this? Okay, we get a block of text under there. We could do like a call out in the middle, right? With some like big quotes. Right, so we get our 66 and our 99 for our call out quotes. You kind of do it like this, and it's a little stylized. That's cool. I like that. And then you throw something in like... And then, so, you know what I mean?
I wrote, then they criticized it and told me they were going to send changes, and they never did. So I had to update it again based on individual single lines of feedback posted in a Teams channel, one by one, not associated with the actual content, not using Figma to post comments on it or anything.
No.
Just a random smattering of text that I'm supposed to figure out where it goes, interspersed with a bunch of GIFs and inside jokes that I don't understand.
I've been there, dude. I've been there. I've gotten like blobs of content that they're like, can you do something with this? And it's like, you're a big organization. Like, you don't have a writer like kicking around in there? Okay, that is pretty funny. I'm going to put that off to the side.
That's good. That looks nice, though. I think it's, and to me, like, again, like, think about what's really important to communicate and put it at the top and in the highlights. And then, like, if you have cool things, like, call them out with like the big text. That's kind of exactly what I did. The funny thing is I started looking, I actually did read a bunch of articles about portfolios. And I discovered one good article, a blog post on this site called UX Folio. And then I ended up actually using them. Like, it's like a portfolio builder tool.
Yep.
And I was like, well, that's fucking crazy. Content marketing worked. I was reading I didn't even realize I was on their site, and I was just reading the thing, and I'm like, oh, this is like a good article. Yeah. Oh, these are some good tips. And then they're like,
to find out more, get a premium Squarespace account. And you're like, yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what it was. And I'm like, actually, I'm going to try this out. And then I ended up paying for it pretty cheap, but
that's being a thought leader, baby.
They did it. But yeah, it kind of has little tools like that. Then what did you do? Where did you start?
Okay, so what if we do beginning, middle, end? It's a story, right?
The hero's journey.
The hero's journey. We've done this before.
The user's journey. Yeah, we have to. The Simpsons already did it. Discovery, design, and
let's just ditch that entire joke.
What joke? The
whole user's journey thing. I was trying to make it, and I'm like, you know what? This is like the 5th time we've tried to make this joke out. All right, beginning, middle, end.
I like it.
I'm just doing a type arrangement. You can keep making things.
I'm looking at my own portfolio to get inspiration.
Oh, because it's so fucking dope. It's so.
Oh, it worked. It's.
Yeah.
It works. It's gotten me.
It's getting 100% success rate. Yeah.
It's 66% success rate. I applied for 3 jobs. It's been seen by 3 people. 2 of them paid me. Let's see. I have a thing at the bottom that's what I learned. That's kind of neat.
So,
what did I learn?
Beginning, how did you start? Middle, how did you execute?
How did you do it? Yeah, what happened?
What the fuck happened?
I like that.
What happened with all our money? What have you been doing for 3 months?
This is it? Do you think this looks good? That one? Do you think this looks good? It's like, no.
No, I hate it.
Quotes are good.
Quotes are good? Quotes from clients.
You can just... Quotes from clients, you can just make them up.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Dude, it's not like you're going to call them. It's like they're going to call some dude that you worked with like 5 years ago and they're like, did you say this about Ian? He'd probably say yes. He'd be like, yeah, sure.
Imagine they come back, it's just like, yeah, he said he doesn't know you. I'm like, well, that's nonsense. Who are you going to believe?
Yeah, are you going to believe me, the guy who's trying to work with you, or some fucking rando that you decided to call? Okay. Beginning. How did you start? Well, I guess we could probably get into where you start on that's a whole completely other different conversation. Speaking of which, we should do an episode some night, and I want to do this for my personal benefit, but facilitating discovery. Like, what is a discovery process and how do you do it? Because holy shit, like, if you get that, if you're working with a company and you haven't been working with that company for very long and you have to set up what you believe is a discovery process, which is lots of meetings and workshops and things that take time away from their employees, it's hard.
I had to come up with a way to do it remotely because not at the current job, but things just devolved kind of because we couldn't just turn around and say, hey, I got it down to a document that goes around. A big thing that for discovery that I found is very helpful is like just getting alignment on like what we're even discovering. I know that sounds like more work, but I circulate a document that's like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're gonna, this is the problem or background, and this is what the goal, and this is what we're gonna try to do, and this is what we know, and this is what we don't know, and then does everybody agree that about this? Because a lot of the times people don't agree even on that, like what you're even doing. It's almost like people, sometimes that you can even tell, and people almost want to avoid it. But you got to get it out in the open at first. Like, do we all know what we're even doing?
So, for the non-designers out there, the legion of non-design fans that want to get into this world, I don't know why I said that in that voice. A discovery process is how you kick off a process. So you're engaging either a project team in a software company, or you're engaging a client as an agency or a vendor. You have to figure out what the hell you're doing and how you're going to go about it. And you need all that information. How does the company, some basic ones would be like, how does the company work? What do you do? Are you going to pay me? No, but like, how many people do you employ? What do you do? How do your customers interact with you? How do you sell to them? What are you doing now to sell to them? How do they find you? Like, all that kind of information that you need to contextualize your efforts moving forward. You do that in a discovery process. You and I have been part of some interesting ones. I can think of one that involved a card sorting exercise that was kind of fun. Lots of different methods. I don't know. I kind of have meetings and interviews. I'm like kind of old school like that.
Yeah, like the chart, this thing I mentioned about the chart earlier. Yeah, discovery for that might be what? The charting tool. What did I say? What are you gonna? I'm trying to obscure it a little bit because I've worked on that. It's like, what are you gonna do with the charts? Like, why do you want to make charts? You know what I mean? And it's and that's like, because an example is like someone says, oh, this is what we want, but then if you actually kind of get to the bottom of like, oh, what are you trying to do? Like, where are you going to put it? Like, is it for a PowerPoint, like a presentation? And, you know, you start to find out that maybe it's not a chart that they want, but it's a way to like, it's just a way to visualize data somehow. So maybe like there's other ways, you know.
Well, or even further,
different ways to do it. Or you're
maybe,
trying to communicate data.
Maybe that the solution that they were approaching you with, like, hey, can you build me a chart, was not the thing that they actually needed, and you as an expert like have a better idea. You can suss those things out during discovery. I know for us for working with clients on a timeline, that can get a little tricky because you need to estimate right before they signed things that get you to the budget to pay for the discovery session. So that can get a little hinky. You just got to kind of align with what you're doing. I don't know about you, but I've ran at least 2 discovery meetings, so kickoff meetings with clients where I didn't have to do anything because they were either arguing or disagreeing with one another. So the organization thought that they had alignment and they wanted an X, a product, and they came to us, and when we got them in a room, they weren't actually aligned at all on what they thought that they needed or wanted to do. And that was valuable because you can't proceed in the project unless the company knows what they actually want. So it's like, hey, if you got to hash it out, hash it out. That's what we're here to do. Some other neat ones that I've discoveries, the beginnings of projects I've done. I ran a diversity council, a diversity forum with employees from all different ends of the company, all different ends of the cultural spectrum, and talk to them about what it meant to be an employee at the company, because it was something that the company was really interested in reflecting. And that was a profoundly interesting experience for me. And I know that on the other end of that, the employees felt really represented. And that was cool, man. So that was the best discovery I ever ran, Ian.
Cool, Daddy-o.
Daddy-o. I think that might fit. I wish I could change the titles beneath our names live on the stream. Live on the screen
tonight at 10, it's almost time for a break.
Yeah, I kind of that was the logical. We're only at like 35 minutes, but I think more important than running a long stream is having a good conversation here, and that felt like a good little dipper in the conversation. So we're gonna take a 5. I'm just gonna check our audio levels.
I think they're pretty good. I was given a little monitor.
I think they aren't bad.
Trying not to scream.
Yeah.
All
right,
Cat's
guys.
not meowing. Where's the cat? All right, back in a
few.
few. Go
start typing up your story. Go design a thing.
Yeah, go
5 minute.
Get something done. Come on. You're just gonna waste that 5 minutes. Channel your inner Gary V, and start 2 companies.
Oh man.
I want you to start 2 businesses by the time we come back.
Oh, Gary V. Damn, I'm like sad now. All right, we'll be right back. Probably fade that music right out. We didn't have the McGruff anti-marijuana song playing in the break, unfortunately.
Oh no, people aren't going to know that marijuana is bad for them.
Little peek behind the curtain here. We need like a 3-second clip with like a jingle that's like doop a doop a doop doop, and we'll cut that in as opposed to like a 5-minute, like break in the middle of something. We can just pop in that clip and then it, happens later. Hi YouTube. We're back.
Hey. Hey there.
Oh, I didn't see you there. We were just busy talking about design and clicking and, making boxes, and putting things in the boxes.
It's a lot of work making great experiences over here on the Hi There show.
It really is. It's a lot of whatever you're seeing in front of you right now. Follow those rules. So you wanted to take a quick break. You had something cool to talk about with Typeform?
I just wanted to have a little segue and put this on blast here for a second.
Oh, yo. Ian's gassed up. It's about to drama alert. All right. Tell me this sucks. I already hate it because I don't want to type in my email.
I know.
All right, this is Typeform. What does Typeform do, real quick?
It lets you make forms, basically, in a cool way, in a very cool and creative way. Like you can do surveys that are more fun, I guess, and
okay.
You can do like quizzes, like you can make a "What's Harry Potter character are you" type quiz with it.
Oh, which one were you? Which one did you get?
Nonsense. I don't remember. I just kind of BS'd my way through it. No. I did the house one, and
You didn't get a house? They're like janitors.
What's the one that Harry Potter was in? I was in the Slytherin. No, I don't remember.
Slytherin is the bad. I don't know anything about Harry Potter. Oh, that anti-trans gross woman. Anyway, Typeform is very cool. So what's our UX?
So Typeform is cool, and it's all about making like better forms and quizzes and surveys. And so that's why I was kind of surprised when their sign-up form was a little jarring, Nick. First off, it did one of those things where it doesn't tell you the password requirements until you screw it up at the end. And, I use one password to generate strong passwords. So,
wow.
It's just kind of annoying. Otherwise, I would have made it. So it's like, okay, now I have to go back and edit my password and drop in a random number and letter, even though it's like 20 characters long. So
it's just so many instructions. I feel like I'm looking at password Wordle. Like I'm looking at information right now that would help me suss it out. I'm like, well, there isn't at least one number, and he didn't put a capital in there. His password's get out of here, idiot.
It's kind of grinded my gears a little bit.
Okay, I agree to type. That's a lot.
It's one of those things where it's one of those, I thought, fairly common, UX things where it's like you should show the password requirements and then like kind of check them off as you type. If you're going to have this many, like there's arguments to be made that having all these different weird little requirements don't necessarily make your password stronger, but we'll leave that to the security experts.
Well, it's a threshold thing. Like as you add characters and numbers and special characters and stuff, it's getting exponentially more difficult to solve. Anyway, I actually don't know anything about security. So.
But yeah, it's just better practice to show the requirements up front.
Let's see.
And then check. And instead of you trying to submit it and then it says, "Oh, you can't."
Let's get.
And then the other nonsense was all this like Typeform's use of my data. Cool, I guess, that they're asking about privacy stuff, but it's just so confusing. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like there's so many of these options that people just say, "Fine, just yes to all," and move on. You know what I mean? Like the cookie type stuff.
Yep.
Anyway,
that's a lot though. Tailor Typeform to my needs based on my activity. Like, what is that? What? It seems like a major functionality decision. I haven't even used your product yet. Like
this, maybe I don't know what's in and out of their control here for any privacy stuff. This seems more than usual. I don't know if they're cutting me a break and actually like letting me choose stuff, but all I have to say is it kind of sucks if you have to do that. Oh, is this a Facebook sign up form?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, I mean, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, those are really easy guesses. Already have an account? Sign up with phone or email.
Their password requirements are probably garb.
Twitter doesn't
Password
start
123.
Twitter doesn't start with a password at all. They're like, pick your name. I can get that from a UX perspective because there's a bit of excitement around picking your name, and they want your phone number, and they're like, let's get through that step, and then, you know, once they've picked their cool name that they really like and found out that it's available, you know, then we'll guide them through the rest of the process. So, like, forms are neat, I guess, for anyone that's not in the know, because these sign-up forms are really important. The companies rely on a certain amount of new users coming in constantly. So when you throw 10 million people at a sign-up form, it becomes super important to make it as easy as possible to get them in there, because it affects the amount of people that sign up. That's the reason for that. It's on Facebook.
Make your forms good, people. And that's it.
What are some other good sign-up forms?
I'll have to say.
What's your favorite sign-up form? Who's the best?
What's your favorite
Shopify? Shopify is like
No.
pretty damn expensive, and they love forms. Start free trial. Oh, see, they don't have password requirements either. I actually can't think of an initial form or like a first panel like this anyway where it does.
Like a crazy amount?
Well, it's like, it just says password. There's no like, don't screw it up. I'm going to Google best sign up form ever.
Yeah,
I bet you
Shopify, I
Mailchimp
just
is
like
probably good.
Shopify, I just like mashed my keyboard 4 times and it didn't yell at me. The platform commerce is built on. Cool. I bet it takes like 75 like people hours to come up with that headline.
Yeah, and they keep user testing it and user testing it and user testing it. I mean, product that big, your decisions get data driven pretty quick. So Shopify's probably had 150 different configurations of sign up forms that they've tested and asked people about and done research on. And
it's like the optimization to death almost.
Have you ever seen the Pit Viper site?
No.
How do I sign up?
I saw something once. It was like about Google testing, like, I think it was like a kind of, the point was it was excessive, but they were testing like a shade of blue or something, and it was like a bunch of different shades. And one of them was the winner, but it's kind of like, is it really the winner, or was it just like, you know, something was going to win? I
think there's design problems like that. It's almost like for funsies or something, because there's diminishing returns on that shade of blue. Like going from dark blue to light blue might be significant, but going from like light blue with a bit of green in it to like a slightly, you know, I don't know. Did you see Instagram's rebrand?
No.
This is Pit Viper.
When did that happen?
Form.
What's Pit Viper?
They're a company that makes those sunglasses you see in the picture.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's all I needed to know.
Right? I'm like, I want those. So I can wear them once in the summer, and my friends are like, "Oh man, cool."
Yeah, that's
pretty much what. That's
all
what
you
get out of a pair of sunglasses like that.
That's all you can ask for.
Okay. We're back at telling the entire story of the project. Did you have some UX questions from the cloud?
Tell the entire story of the project. Let's give the
internet a whirl.
Give the dice a roll here.
How can we solve things for people? That's what we do, right?
We've got someone asking about wireframing properly with pen and paper.
Okay.
What are the do's and don'ts? Is that a UX question?
I mean, wireframing is important to UX because you're doing it all the time. Maybe it's like a process thing. I would say do wireframe the product. Don't draw like offensive pictures or, you know.
Yeah, no offensive drawings, slurs of any kind.
Yeah, don't. You know that S, that cool S that people used to draw on things. Probably get one or two of those in there if you're hand drawing. You don't know the S? What?
What's the cool S?
I did read a Vice article and nobody could figure out where it came from, but everyone used to draw it on their binders. Can you see that? Are you in my realm? In Figma here?
Oh, that.
Yeah, that cool S. You're going to want to get those on your hand-drawn wireframes immediately and tell people it's an icon for something, a navigation or something. No, I would say do's and don'ts for hand-drawn wireframes is just remember that they're impermanent. So if you're in a room with people and you're sketching something out, that's totally fine because at the end of the day, it's either going to translate into a file or another discussion. So I don't know. I would say put your wireframes in your favorite design software and crumple them up and throw them away when you're done. Don't worry about it too much.
That's fair. Wireframe properly with pen and paper.
I mean, I've done it before. It's usually because you're in a meeting room and it's like you want to bang out an idea. So you're either on a whiteboard or we call them napkin drawings. Yeah. And that's sort of a neat term to make people understand that it's not good.
Yeah. It's almost a thing that like you can invite other people to do. It's almost not. People would argue that it's not wireframing because it's like more just like sketching, and wireframing is supposed to be more precise. I don't really care about that argument.
I think that's dumb. I mean, if you want to call it wireframing, get your fucking hanging wire out and make a metal frame. That was dumb.
Yeah,
I tried to burn that person, but that was dumb.
It's a thing other people can do. Invite them. I think that's a do. Don't think wireframing on paper is a designer's only job. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anyone can sketch, and it'll just make you feel better about yourself because your colleagues are just going to draw something bad anyway.
Oh, and they like don't know what icons. You're like drawing like a nice div with like an X in the corner and like a button, and it like looks right. And no, you're gonna do way better than everyone else in the room. This is another good moment to maybe plug FigJam too. If you don't have, if you want to wireframe with people in a capacity where you can draw it, just get FigJam. It's totally free and it's fun and it does that. Whoa, working.
It's not free anymore.
Get that up here.
Now that we've promoted the bejesus out of it, it's not free.
Oh, FigJam's not free?
No.
Fuck them. They're worse than Adobe, Ian.
They're
worse than Adobe.
They wanted to get everybody hooked on it for free, and then they put the price. They made it not free.
Yeah, completely reasonable. I get it.
That's how it goes. It's capitalism.
It's capitalism. This is also commercial grade software, and people make a shit ton of money using it. I'm not saying that. I don't know what.
I think they still have a free version. If you actually don't have any money or you're small, I think you can still get it for free. But if you're a company, you can't really. But that's also fine. You should be paying for tools.
Figma's a cool enough brand that I bet you if you just emailed them and explained yourself, they'd be like, all right, you're in. We didn't get a chance to talk about it tonight, but on Figma, Config 2022 happened during our hiatus, and they added a bunch of new stuff. Maybe we should cover that next week. That might be a good one. I don't know. There's nothing that significant to me.
I got caught off guard by it because I updated Figma, and then I had a meeting where I was doing something. And
oh no!
I was like, "Where is the thing?" Moved the thing just out. I'm just like, "Where's the thing?" I'm like, "I should have." People are just watching me, trying to use Figma. That was good.
I was just checking our audio.
That's fine. Just make it.
I'm
make
here.
It look
I'm
hard.
sorry. I'm listening. I'm engaged.
They won't try and do it.
I'm an active listener. Sorry. Hi. I was checking our audio levels. We're doing really good for once. There's no music playing. We're actually live. It's working tonight. Okay. Yeah, that was the question. We got into wireframing. Yeah, don't worry about it. I know this exists, but the version that I want in my head is like CNC etched out of wood. But I would love magnetic panels that were different common features for like iOS or the web, and you could stand there in front of a magnetic whiteboard and just arrange them however you wanted. And then everyone can be like, well, what if the header was here? But what if it was here? And just quickly visualize their dumb ideas so that I can be right and get the meeting over with.
Paper prototyping? I've done that before, but not with like cool stickers. There's those stencils, but they're not as fun.
Well, not even prototyping. Like, it's still just a flat wireframe. Oh, have we hit a disagreement?
What?
Nothing. I was just pontificating on the difference between a prototype and a wireframe. Any more cool questions? What else you got?
Well, just key elements on a case study. We already did that.
Yeah. We got it right here. Tell the entire story of the project. Actually, we should maybe keep picking at these.
Best hotel booking UX. I mean, Expedia is pretty good, I will say. If you're doing a bunch of traveling, and you can book through Expedia.
I would have to do some research on that. I mean, I've booked hotels online.
Same.
But it's so infrequent that it's not like I think about it. Like, I just go to whatever the most recent commercial that was on.
If you're booking more than one, like, location almost, like, Expedia is pretty good. You just get everything in your app.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, like, gets you like, the prices. I don't know how all that works. But it's good. I was using it for work, and it just has everything in there. Nice little dashboard. It's like, here's your next trip. Here's your next destination. Check-in times.
We don't do anything and we get money. Here's the information that we got from the hotel's API. Enjoy. Quotes from either the client or other members of the project team help bolster the above.
Yeah, like,
musings.
Why not? If someone gives you a good quote, a little musing. Like, if a client sends you, like, a compliment or, like, you know, slap that right in there. Use it all.
And you don't have to ask permission. Just write it down. Don't be dishonest. If you're dishonest on this, you're going to get burned for it later. Just
kind of don't. Usually these aren't, like, public portfolios.
No, this is the kind of document that you hand to, again, a company that you're a relatively junior designer. You don't know this company. You don't have an in, and you just have to go through the regular process of, like, applying for a job and writing a cover letter and sending them some info. This is kind of what that document's for.
And if you're worried about, like, sensitive information and it's preliminary, like, interview, you can I've just done it where I've shown it to them, right? Back when you met people in person. But if you're doing you could screen share and just show them. I guess they could screenshot it, but, you know.
That would be interesting, like, screenshots of emails. That's a good idea. I started with a robust discovery plan. ... We need some Lipsum. What's your favorite Lipsum generator lately?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, because I do have one, and it generates Neil deGrasse Tyson quotes.
Oh, okay. He got in trouble lately for being negative about the moon or something.
I saw something, and I don't care.
No, I don't care. He doesn't either. He's just like, I don't care.
It's like it's like, fine. But anyway, yeah, it's just funny, like, space. What was the one I had? It was like, if you get sucked into something about, like, getting sucked into a black hole, what it would be like. And I just like to drop those things into the designs, because if someone sees it, it makes for a fun conversation.
Yeah.
How about you, Nick?
I just use Lipsum because I want it to be as wrong as possible. But
That's good too.
even then,
That's a good point.
I just want people to read it and understand that it's so not copy. But I've like, it might have been something I was working on with you, is like a client actually going like, what's with all this Latin writing? Like, where's the text? And it's like, they didn't give it to us.
I have a story like that where I was doing, we didn't really use Lipsum except for, we were doing a page design for like a product page. So at the bottom it had like user reviews,
Okay.
ratings, like, you know, like Amazon type page, right? With the reviews at the bottom, and there was some Lipsum in there because that wasn't really, we didn't expect the people to really like read the reviews themselves that deeply.
Yeah.
But we used real copy for the rest of most of the site, or at least like decent copy. Anyway, yeah, people, a couple people commented on it and they thought it was like one person said it was French and the other person thought it was Spanish.
Oh my God.
And they're like, yeah, I just can't, yeah, just like anything you didn't like about the page. It's like, yeah, I can't read Spanish. Is there like a translate? Is there going to be a translate option? It's just like,
oh man.
Yep, got it.
Yep, you got it, buddy. We'll build it for you. It costs $50,000, but we can't make it happen.
That's the beautiful thing. They'll notice it. That's what you want.
Yeah, and you
want feedback.
You do the whole song and dance. You're like, what we're going to be
for.
looking at today does not contain real copy. It's important to note. And at the end of the meeting, someone will be like, I'm confused about the copy.
Yeah, why is it? Who are you? What is? Why are you here?
How did you get in here?
What do you want from me? Yeah, how did you get? What is this? What is this place? Embedding, yeah, make it look as good as you can.
Like it is. Cool, like I'm putting I'm just like stuffing this in here, but it is important. You do need graphics. Now, screenshots of your pretty website are way less valuable than perhaps production views of the templates. Like, one thing I like to do when I show a design in this capacity is like take a screenshot of the huge canvas, the organized canvas that you're working in Figma or XD, so that you see many templates like stacked together. So you get a vibe of the look and the feel if that's important to you, to make it look good. But then on the other side of that, you're also showing like, no, this was a huge process. Like, we generated like dozens and dozens of templates to like get through this website.
Yeah, and it's like production, you know, can produce like the final assets, like a lot of work at the end. And that's a good way to obscure your work too. I've done that when I was like, well, I don't want to show like some of the details on the screens.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to be able to read them, but yeah, I can just show like, yeah, we worked on, there was a lot of like screens that we designed for this, a lot of steps in the flow, and it kind of like just showed like a screen flow, but it got across the point that, yeah, there was a lot of work involved.
And I think that's kind of common folly for, I mean, when you're a younger designer, you're very concerned with making work that can pass like a visual bar of quality, because you're not part of like a multi-designer, multidisciplinary, you know, department. You just have to make it. And so you kind of get caught up with the explaining like, look, this looks professional. I made this. It looks professional. But you're not really, again, you're not telling the story of how you got there. There's lots of UI people out there. You're not applying for a UI job. You're applying for a UX job, et cetera, et cetera.
Where was I? And yeah, again, depending on what you've got available to you, like in my cases, when I didn't have high fidelity designs, sketches, even like, so that person mentioned like drawing wireframes. I've taken photos of like, you know, kind of a hipstery photo of my notebook with a pen on it with some wireframes, you know. I've taken photos of like a bunch of post-it notes on a wall, or I try to, when I'm working on projects, I just try and take pictures of that in progress things.
Yep.
Like, almost like stock photo or B-roll type photos to use in portfolio pieces, or like PowerPoint presentations, like backgrounds or something. It always comes in useful, or people like working, kind of like a bunch of people drawing on a whiteboard or something.
Yeah,
It's always nice to be able to use it in these portfolio situations and try and take screenshots or save files. Like, that's maybe a bit above and beyond, but I try and do that sometimes just because it makes it easier when you want to go and actually make a portfolio.
Yeah, take your hand-drawn wireframes and take them, shoot a picture of it at a 3/4 angle, slightly above, in a well-lit space, and all of a sudden you got fancy, it's sort of an image that sort of shows how seriously you're taking those wireframes, despite the fact that they're, I don't want to say arbitrary, but like they're low quality. You drew them on a sheet of paper. But what you're describing is, I got in a room full of people and we hashed this out, and that's sort of what is maybe more attractive to your employer.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I can take these different steps that go between the start, the beginning, middle, end. I know what they are, at least, and I can work on them. And again, if you're a junior, it's kind of assumed that you're not doing everything alone. But
if a junior applied for a position and had an intimate knowledge of the process of working with a large development team, you would hire them right away, immediately. Because they have the knowledge to get through the actual project. That's the most important thing, maybe?
Yeah, they're not learning that. You're not going to learn that in school.
No, you just, unfortunately, I mean, and again, this is my experience. It is 2022. I don't expect that this should be everyone's experience, but like when you're a young designer, like you get your ass kicked. You have to get good. And not everybody is right out of design school. Not that I wasn't. I was dope. It was more like people didn't get it, because I was too edgy and cool and smart and fast, and I could jump really high.
Yeah, they eventually caught up. And
I was there to pick up the pieces for them.
NBD.
NBD, no big deal. I don't know why I have a header on this document. What is with it when it's like, I don't know what to design. I should put a giant block at the top.
Well, that's every website.
Yeah.
That's maybe that's almost like a little capper to not overlook. Is like, how do you, we talked about what goes into a portfolio, but how do you actually, what's the middle part of this? How do you execute on this? What do you make it in? I mentioned UX Folio before, which is basically think of Squarespace, but for just making portfolios. So it's really pared down. It's got layouts just like you're designing, with picture on the side and some text, and you can flip it and put in like big pull quotes, and it just makes it easy to make a pretty decent looking portfolio without spending a ton of time on it.
So while making this, I sort of saw it as a web layout. But that depends on your situation. Again, you might not be able to show stuff that you worked on, or the person is asking you to email something to them, that kind of thing. It could be a PDF. It could be, it could be like a PowerPoint presentation, as long as like what you're saying and how it looks and what you're trying to get across is really solid. It doesn't really matter. It does need to look good. It does need to look professional. That's on you, and you'll get through it. I believe in you, designers of the world.
It's definitely more about the content. I know that's easy to say.
No, it is. I think that's the point we're trying to get across, is like portfolios have evolved. I'm so sorry for cutting you off so awfully, but it's evolved from, here's a series of JPEGs of the cool things that I made, to the story of how you made the thing.
Yeah. And that's going to tell us what it's like to work with you a little bit too. Give us a little peek. So yeah, add a little bit of personality.
Get in there.
But
I saw a portfolio once from a designer that was an action figure in a very convincing packaging that they made themselves, and the action figure was of them. And it was like, okay, cool, but do you know how to make iPhone apps? Do you know what C# is? There's a room full of angry developers, and they want to talk to you. I like your project highlights point. Like, get them at the top. And also, too, we should preface this with, we're telling you to tell a story, and you do have to either write that out or tell it in some other capacity. Maybe a film, a video. Who knows? But, like, it can't be 15 pages long. It needs to be, like, a page or two or a half or whatever you feel like reasonable individuals are willing to engage with. Don't... Have you ever seen, like, a 20-slide portfolio before? They're horrible. You're like, okay, I needed, like, 8 things tops. 8 things tops. 4.
Yeah,
fine.
It depends. It depends on how big the thing is. And, because one of my portfolio pieces was literally, like, a year-long project. So that was pretty big. But then I dropped in, like, the project highlights, like, did a lunch and learn or something on so-and-so, such and such. So it's like any kind of thing like that, that's just like, oh, neat. They did that. And I only suggest like a tool. I looked at it, someone that I interviewed, they did their portfolio in Figma as just like a prototype. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
not really a great choice, but hey, you had a problem and you found a solution for it, and it works. So cool.
You did. I could see that. Prototyping might be kind of tough though, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with prototypes that are not, anyway, advisable.
Yeah, he just used it to make a web page, basically.
Oh, I see. Well, Squarespace, that's another good option for young designers, and I can hear it out of their mouths from a junior designer that's like, why wouldn't I make my own website? And it's like,
because it takes too long and it's hard to update. Because it takes too
fucking long. Nobody ever finishes their portfolio website because they just work on it forever and ever and ever, and it's a nightmare. I mean, if you want to learn HTML, CSS,
I mean, if you want to do it,
a bad idea.
It's just I think it's just the content is what matters. Obviously, that's the cliche sentence, but
content is king.
And scene.
Yeah, and that's it. You should have a job now. I think the point we wanted to get across. Maybe we can. What are 3 key takeaways? You need to tell the entire story. You need to. This is shitty advice. We need like a good
things.
Wrap up here.
Highlight things. Like a project obviously has your beginning, middle, end, where you discover, you do some research, you make the thing, and you deliver it, or you hand it off somehow. We know how that works generally. Think about things that were like, unique or interesting, or challenges that you face that will show that you can stop and think about something critically and like move through it. Like when something kind of gets in your way or something isn't perfect, it's easy to design like the ideal thing, but when you don't know what you're doing and you have to do some research and you found out something that you didn't expect, and you had to address that, like that's I think shows the ability to kind of
to actually like
figure stuff out on your own.
You've figure stuff out on your own, and also adhere to like a design process as outlined by organization Y or whatever, right? Like you have to be able to work with teams and people, and showing that is the best.
Yeah, and I would say like kind of tangentially associated with portfolios is like if you're applying for a job and there's like a posting, it's like address the posting. Like when if they're saying like this is what you're going to do and like this is the person we want, say like, yeah, that's me and I can do that. Like definitely, like it sounds stupid, but if you don't, it looks like you didn't even read the posting, and maybe you didn't, and that's your game, and that's cool, but you probably won't get an interview that way. And on that note, I think design your portfolio for the job that you want too. like I knew that I wanted to do more user research and interviews, and just uh, testing and, you know, one-on-one stuff. So I made sure to put that in my portfolio, to say that I could do it, and to make sure that that's people know that that's part of my process, and that I can, you know, yeah, because that's something that I want to make sure that is part of the job that I'm applying to, and that's what I would, you know, ask them about too. So
I would
yeah,
be
and get what you want out of it too. You know, obviously everyone wants to get a job, and it's hard, and it's a privileged place to, you know, stand and say, like, you know,
well, you know, there's a lot of design jobs out there.
It's easy.
I don't want it. It's certainly not easy. Finding your right footing in your career is never ever easy. But there's a lot of design jobs out there. Finding the right one that's custom fit, like you say, Ian, not custom fit, but that is a good alignment with the kind of things that you want out of your design career. Maybe you're a front end person. Maybe you're more of a research person. Maybe you're more of a documentation kind of person. That's fine, but you should be looking for those roles and also know what they are.
So, yeah, know what they are, and you might not know at first, but yeah, it's a really good thing to be aware of.
And you know what? Keep your grades up.
Yep, stay in school.
Stay in school, keep your grades up, get those hands washed, you know, eat 3 times a day.
Stay hydrated, don't do drugs, I guess, or whatever. No comment.
Yeah, we're not here to judge.
Do whatever you want, I guess. Who am I? What do I know? I don't know what's best for you. Unless you're trying to apply for a UX job.
Then we know exactly.
In that case, make sure you smash that like button if you got anything out of this.
That's exactly it.
If you subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. You want to hear us talk about UX things. That's
kind of all we do.
Promise.
It's like you want to talk about UX so much that nobody in your life wants to listen to you, so you start a YouTube show so you can talk about UX some more.
Yeah, it's like at the very least, you can just kind of talk to each other.
Yeah,
we have each other, Nick.
We'll always have each other and our viewers. So if you made it to the end, we actually should have done the like and subscribe thing earlier. Like Ian said, like and subscribe. Send us your ideas and your questions. We would love to design your thing or help you design your thing. And if that's the case, please reach out to what is our email? Hi There Show or The Hi There Show?
The Hi There Show.
The Hi There Show at gmail.com. That's The Hi There Show, HI there show at gmail.com. Yeah, send us all your stuff. We'll do it for free on air. I would love to have a thing to peck out.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Hi There. That was Live Design Thursday.
And now it's bye. There.
Yeah, bye. Whoa, the music was blasting right out of the gate.
Marijuana, don't try it at all. It's a lie. It's like
I think my mic is off. It's not. All right, there we go. Good night.